looks to set the desert on fire. So get ready for a good old-fashioned Western showdown in the NFC East.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang.
After a slow start, Jake the Snake's bite has returned while the Cards' defenses put them in contention for the playoffs. In Dallas, Emmitt Smith and company have proven they still have the nucleus to fight a champion's fight. Sun Devil Stadium sold out and a place gone mad this afternoon. Not that many times can you say this place is sold out, but when the Cowboys come to town, it usually is. And today, an even more meaningful contest. I'm Pat Summerall here with John Madden. If the Cardinals should defeat Dallas today, they'd move into a first-place tie in the NFC East. If Dallas wins, they'll take command of the NFC East. But as I said, John, it's been a long time since the Cardinals have been in a spot like this. How'd they get there?
Well, Vince Tobin and his staff have done an excellent job, and they've done a lot of it with defense. If you look at the defense, they lead the league in takeaways, and they do it by putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback and making him make mistakes, and that's what they're going to have to do today. Now, on offense, to me, they're all about Jake Plummer. If Jake Plummer stays in the pocket, he's an average young quarterback. If Jake Plummer moves around, bootlegs, gets outside the pocket, he is an above-average quarterback. And for them to win today, he has to be an above-average quarterback. And one more thing, when they punt the ball to Deion Sanders, they better have a whole heck of a lot of guys down there to tackle him.
That's so true. The Cowboys' main concern is about their quarterback, Troy Aikman. Last week against the Giants, he suffered this injury. Keith Hamilton sacked him, and that's what his finger looked like last week. That's this week. But the problem is not the cut. It's back on the knuckle of his index finger where it's very swollen and very sore. But in pregame practice, at least, he seemed to be throwing the ball very well. Now, what a concern. What about that concern for the Cowboys?
Yeah, I don't think that's a big concern. I mean, just watching Troy Aikman last week, after he hurt that finger, to me, he got better. In fact, he ended up the game 8 out of 8 and a touchdown pass. So I think that he's going to be fine today. He needs protection. Emmitt Smith running. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboy defense has to keep containment on Plummer.
Coming up, it's the Dallas Cowboys, the Arizona Cardinals from Sun Devil Stadium. And John and I'll be back for the opening kickoff when Fox NFL Sunday continues.
This opportunity, it ain't going by. We're going to take advantage of this opportunity.
It's a good day.
You got to love it. You got to love it.
Take a good look at that site. Sun Devil Stadium sold out. A large percentage of the fans that are stacked in here are Dallas fans, as usual when we come here. The Cowboys and the Cardinals. And you don't feel this kind of enthusiasm in this ball yard that often.
Well, you know, the Cardinals haven't had that many meaningful games in November in a heck of a long time. And I think because of that, we're seeing a lot more Cardinal fans today here and a lot more red.
The Cardinal fever has taken over in this Valley of the Sun. For the Cowboys back there with Jeff Ogden. Nedney has a very strong leg.
And this is the first time for Chris Warren since like 1992 or 93. He volunteered for this job so he could get on the field more.
Short kick by Nedney, and it's going to be Chris Warren at about the 1. To the 24. There are no penalty markers down. That in itself is unusual. Here's the Dallas offense, quarterbacked by sore-fingered Troy Aikman. However, after he got that sore finger, he was more effective last week. His offensive line, Allen, Newton, Flozell Adams, and Eric Williams, and Mike Kieselak starting at center. Clay Shiver is not even active. Out with a bad knee and a bad foot. Emmitt Smith, you just saw the backfield lineup. Emmitt, the NFC's Offensive Player of the Week last week for his 163 yards against the Giants. Emmitt Smith is deep. Aikman on first down. Incomplete. Simeon Rice might have gotten his hand on that one. Let's look at the Arizona defense. And they're good. Simeon Rice and Andre Wadsworth, the outstanding rookie. Mark Smith and Rashad Swinger in place of Eric Swan. McCombs, McKinnon, and Miller, the 3 M's, the linebackers. Tom Knight and Williams, the cornerbacks. Tillman and Bennett the two safeties. 2nd and 10. Aikman again to throw. Down the middle, caught by Billy Davis. 1st down. Knight made the stop.
Yeah, and that's the pattern that Troy Aikman throws so well, is that deep end. We remember it for years when you come up here deep and then you come to the inside. Troy Aikman throwing that pass to Michael Irvin. Here it's Billy Davis. He just comes in, finds the hole in the zone, and once he gets by that safety, Tommy Bennett, he just comes under control. And when Troy Aikman throws that pass, I think he's the most accurate passer in all of football.
Right in the basket. Emmett Smith. And Emmett maybe lost a yard. Hit down by Jameer Miller.
Ran right into Eric Williams on that play.
Miller playing with a dislocated wrist. Troy Aikman, before the injury last week, was 5 of 11. After the injury, 11 out of 12 and a lone touchdown in the contest.
And then he came into this game, like I said earlier, he was 8 out of 8. And he missed his first pass today, that one to Moose Johnston.
2nd and 9, and Aikman is going to take a timeout. Hasn't got the right kind of personnel or the formation, or the Cardinal defense is not what he expected. Anyway, he's going over to talk with Chan Gailey.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
Dallas nothing, Arizona nothing. Pat Summerall with John Madden. We're in the Valley of the Sun. Here are the NFC East standings at the moment. Dallas 6-3 on top. They've won all their division games. Arizona 5-4. And then the rest of the story. 2nd down and 10. Emmitt Smith. Across the 45, then he is knocked backwards as the Cardinals dive. Tony McCombs and Ronald McKinnon.
Yeah, there's a good little player, that Ronald McKinnon.
Yeah.
Is the size a lot like Mike Singletary. You know, I mean, he's an undersized guy. He's only 6 foot, and but watch him. He's like, like Sam Mills, like Singletary. Those guys that are short but very powerful and very active, and plays the run extremely well.
3rd and 7. Emmett got 3 yards.
Watch his snap here.
Yeah, this is Kieselak. Don't forget, a new center.
And Troy Aikman says he snaps it back 100 miles an hour.
They blitz Aikman, knocked the ball backwards. I think his arm was moving forward.
You know, that's the type of pressure we were talking about, and that's why the Cardinals lead the league in football with 27 takeaways. And they usually get it that way, by putting pressure on the quarterback and then having them turn it over. You see here it comes with a blitz. They just don't have the right side picked up. Simeon Rice comes from the back, and the strong safety, Tommy Bennett, like number 28, he's going to be right here in Troy Aikman's face, and as Aikman goes to throw it, there's a red 28.
Eric Metcalf will go back deep for the Cardinals. Toby Goen will punt it for the Cowboys. He's done an excellent job. And now a timeout is taken on the field. This one by Arizona. So both teams have 2 left. Working on Moose Johnston. 12:40 left in the first quarter, and Toby Goen back to punt.
Cardinals are going to come in a block here.
Looks like it. Goen gets it out of there. Metcalf watches it bounce, and it's going to go out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. Just outside the 5. Great punt by Toby Goen. Cardinals will take over with a long way to go. MetLife blimp Snoopy 2 flying overhead under the command of Captain Doug McFadden, carrying the state-of-the-art camera equipment. Blimp is able to provide a unique perspective of the action below from an altitude of 1,200 feet. And they've got a great view today. Perfect weather conditions. Bright sunshine. In the 80s. Jake Plummer on 1st down gets it out of there to his tight end Johnny McWilliams. gets to about the 13. Let's look at the Arizona offense. Jake the Snake, of course, a local hero, played at Arizona State. He's had his struggles, but things seem to be coming together. Lomas Brown, Dishman, Graham Holmes, and Dexter in front of Jake Plummer. Adrian Morrell and Larry Centers, Rob Moore and Frank Sanders wide. McWilliams the tight end. Centers in front of Morrell. Morrell gets the carry. Morrell is hit and stopped short of the line of scrimmage by Chad Hennings. And let's check out the Dallas defense, playing extremely well. The front four: Pittman, Leon Lett, Chad Hennings, who just made that play, and Greg Ellis. The three linebackers, Coakley, Strickland, and Godfrey, all three playing extremely well. Sanders and Kevin Smith, the corners, Stoutmeyer and Woodson. Here's Jake Plummer firing, got a man open. It's Frank Sanders who will have a first down and more. He knocked out of bounds, but there's a flag on the play.
That's probably going to be brought back against the Cardinals. But the one thing that is impressive, we said that, you know, Jake Plummer, to be effective, has to throw on the run, and he is doing that. He has a little bootleg, he has a sprint out. They're moving the pocket rather than keeping him in the pocket.
Illegal formation. 64 offense was on the end of the line, uncovered. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
Ron Blum, the referee.
Yeah, and that's, you know, they always blame 64 offense, but that's the wide receiver's fault. That means that the receiver, you see, here's a tackle here. Now, one of these three receivers has to be on the line of scrimmage. And since none of them are on the line of scrimmage, that puts James Dexter, the right tackle, as the end man, and of course he's ineligible.
Cowboys are showing blitz. And the pass is incomplete as Eric Metcalf was hammered. And they're saying he was down now, and the pass was complete.
Yeah, and how Jake Plummer, one, got rid of that ball, and two, got it in there to Eric Metcalf is really something. But here's going to be Metcalf. He's out here, and he's on tight coverage. Excuse me, he's right here. You see, he's running a slant, and he just comes in. Just as he catches that ball, he just has his hand right around his neck.
Hit by George Teague.
Watch George Teague. I mean, he just has his hand right up in there, and he's pulling his neck back. But they said that Eric Metcalf caught that one.
That one could have gone either way, and that's being kind.
But it was still a pretty good throw by Jake Plummer to get it in there.
Here's Plummer going deep, working on Kevin Smith. No flag. No flag. Rob Moore, the intended receiver.
You know, and Chan Gailey was talking about Kevin Smith last night, and he's saying, you know, that you lose your confidence, and Kevin Smith had lost his confidence, and he said you lose it over a long period of time with people working on you over a period of time, and then it takes you a period of time to gain back the confidence, and that's what Kevin Smith is going through now, because everyone in this league is going to throw away from Deion Sanders and throw, when you throw to a wide receiver, throw at Kevin Smith.
And they say that confidence is coming back.
Your time, your time.
Timeout called by Arizona. And they only have one left in the first half. 0-0.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Ford Taurus. Ford, built to last. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. By Domino's, delivering 1 million smiles a day. And by Budweiser, now's the perfect time to enjoy a fresh, cold, Beechwood-aged Budweiser.
Back at Sun Devil Stadium, the home of the Cardinals. Sold out. And that is very unusual, but not for the Cowboys when they come to town. The opening drive defense, the Cowboys have allowed only one touchdown. Blitz coming again, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Johnny McWilliams. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, here's how the Colts picked up their second victory of the season, upending New York Jets. Peyton Manning had a big day, 14-yard strike to Marcus Pollard. He stretches over the goal line. That won it in the closing seconds. Manning, big day, threw for 276 yards and 3 touchdowns. Back to Pat and John.
No score, a flag. I'm not sure what this is for. You, John?
Well, the Cardinals are having problems with their
12 men in the
substitution.
12-minute huddle.
They just had 12 men there on their punt coverage team, or on their offensive team. Earlier on the punt return team, they had 12 guys and had to take a timeout.
Vince Tobin. Jake Plummer, obviously a little irritated by what's going on.
Yeah, he's upset that that 12th guy came in and looked like he was talking to Fred Brock.
3rd and 15, screen pass, and played well by Dallas. Larry Centers took it. Omar Stoutmeyer made a heck of a play to break it up.
Omar Stoutmeyer is really settling into a pretty good free safety. They lost Brock Marion in the offseason. The Cowboys did, and Omar Stoutmeyer started for the first time, and I really like him. I mean, he's a tough guy, and he's in on a heck of a lot of tackles. But here comes one of the most exciting players that's ever played football.
Deion Sanders. Scott Player is going to try to kick it away from him. This is a good kick. Deion dodges one. I thought he stepped out of bounds, but apparently he didn't. Lassiter down to make the stop, and does an excellent job in containing Deion. 0-0 first quarter. Somewhere up there among those mountains is what they call Camelback. But if that's Camelback, that camel's in a bad fight and lost. Sun Devil Stadium is packed, full of Cardinal fans, and a lot of Cowboy backers as well.
Here's Simeon Rice, and he's in a big matchup today with Larry Allen. Simeon Rice probably right now the best defensive lineman in the Cardinals, and Larry Allen the best offensive lineman in the Cowboys.
Aikman again rushed, but gets the ball to Ernie Mills this time, and that's a Dallas first down. Same pattern.
That's that same pattern that he'd thrown earlier to Billy Davis. Now watch here. Now Chan Gailey is calling the plays. Then the Buddy Geist will signal them in because they're having trouble. They're having trouble now with their communication system, so they're using signals. Now Troy Aikman has those numbers on his wrist, and you see he looks down at his wrist. Now Troy Aikman wants everyone to know that's not because he's dumb. He has 60-some plays on there to hurry up the calling of the plays and no other reason.
3 wide receiver setup. And Emmitt Smith, the ball carrier. Emmitt about 8 to the Cardinal 35, stopped by Jameer Miller.
See, now here's the wristband, and you can see that he has 30-some plays. What is that? 35 plays on one wrist, and then he has another 35 on the other wrist. So he has half the plays on his right wrist and half the plays on his left wrist. Actually, that was 32 plays. But again, he says that, some guy emailed him, what's the deal with the wristband? You don't know your plays and all that. He said, just say it's not because I'm stupid. It's to call the plays quicker.
Here goes Emmitt Smith again. Breaks and stays on his feet, and Emmitt down the sideline. Inside the 20.
Heck of a run by Emmitt Smith because he made the rookie Pat Tillman. They made him miss, and he's in there. He's a linebacker. He was a linebacker in college. Pat Tillman is number 40. Now watch when he comes up here. Here's a good hole right here. Good block by Eric Williams. See, he makes Pat Tillman miss there. He was a safety. Now once he gets by that tackle, once you get a missed tackle by a safety, you are going to get another 10 yards.
1st and 10, Dallas at the Cardinals 17. Mills is the man in motion, and he gets the carry. Option to Emmitt Smith, and he's going to score, I believe. Out of bounds inside the 5, about the 3.
That's Chan Gailey. No, that's Chan Gailey. That's the stuff, remember, that they used to do in Denver years ago, that they did with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now watch, he takes Ernie Mills, who he had at the Pittsburgh Steelers, brings him in motion, then brings him back like he's going to run the ball, and he runs an option and throws it out there to Emmitt Smith. I'll tell you, when you play against a Chan Gailey offense, you have no idea of what you're going to get next. There's always going to be a surprise, and you know where that comes from? That comes from Dan Reeves.
I thought he was going to score, but he didn't. He got knocked out of bounds at the 3, and Chris Warren has taken his place. This is Emmitt Smith I'm talking about. That's Warren. And that's a Dallas touchdown.
Yeah, they have Mike Kieslak at center now. Nate Newton at left guard. Flozell Adams at right guard. And he got right in behind that group. And look at this, Pat. There's more and more Cowboy fans as you score a touchdown. Do you ever notice that?
I did. Not very much red up there, is it?
Nope. Success breeds fans.
And blue skies and blue stands.
I'll tell you, this offensive line has just taken off. On that earlier run that Emmitt Smith made, Eric Williams made a heck of a block. The middle of the line led by Nate Newton on that play. Really controlled it for Chris Warren. And this offensive line isn't as good as they were when they were really good, but they're getting back towards that.
They really are. Richie Cunningham for the extra point. Hits it. And Dallas leads 7-0. A scoring drive, 5 plays, 57 yards.
So now here's Chris Warren here. He's going to get the ball. Now what? These are the 2 guys that you have to get blocked initially, and then the next 2 guys on short yardage or goal line, if you're going to run in here, those are the guys that you have to get blocked. So you have that 4 right in there. You see the motion. Now you still got those 4 you have to get blocked. They get good movement there. They get a good lead block, and then Chris Warren just gets right in behind Moose Johnston.
And you got a good block from the new center, Kieslak.
Yeah, it was Kieslak, it was Nate Newton, it was Flozell Adams, and then the lead block again by Moose Johnston, who's been doing that for Emmitt Smith for so many years, and now on that play he did it for Chris Warren. But they got good movement there. You know,
they really did.
The Cardinals were starting to stunt, and they picked off their stunt, they picked off their movement, and just pushed them the way they were going, plus back a little.
So Dallas leads 7-0.
Troy Aikman doesn't look like that finger's bothering him, does it?
It doesn't.
I think sometimes when he has something like that, then he concentrates more. I really believe that he played better after he cut his finger. I mean, the statistics show that, but I thought that he looked a lot better after he got hurt than he did before he got hurt last week.
Goins kicks, chases Metcalf back about a yard deep in the end zone. And a reverse coming, and the Cowboys cover it well. Down about the 14.
You know, one thing these Cowboys do is they not only have speed on defense, but they have great speed on special teams. And you see as they come down here, they can all change angles. So they all start this way, then the reverse start. Now watch this pursuit come from the left to the right. See all those white jerseys come in there? That's the thing that you do. I mean, part of it helps when you run into your own man, but the other part is speed and pursuit that these Cowboy special teams have.
1st and 10 for the Cardinals on their own 15. 2 tight end setup. Morrell. A couple.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, it's one of the things. You better block Leon Lett, and that's exactly what the Cardinals didn't do on that time. And anytime, sometimes Leon Lett is easier. He's right here. He's easier when you run at him than when you run away from him, because when you run away from him, the big cat is going to come right down the line of scrimmage and get you. Watch him here, right here. You see, he feels that block. They try and cut him. He comes off the cut, and he goes straight down and meets the ball carrier at the point of attack.
And a good backup play by Hennings as well.
Those 2 work well together inside, Hennings and Lett.
Plummer looking and throwing, has his receiver, Eric Metcalf. And that'll be a Cardinal first down. That's a good throw by Plummer.
Yeah, and Jake Plummer says, I'm not going to stay away from Deion Sanders. He said there's some things you can do to him, and I'm going to do it. And here he runs a slant. That's one of the things he can do. He gets Eric Metcalf against tight coverage. Once he gets by Deion Sanders to the inside, Jake Plummer delivered it right then.
Jake said, I'm not going to let him beat us just because of his reputation.
Yeah, he said, now you may think I'm some young, stupid quarterback, but we are going to throw some on Deion Sanders.
And he just did. And he's back to throw again, looking in that direction. But Tulare centers out of the backfield. Yeah. Randall Godfrey on the stop.
I think Deion Sanders just hurt himself. He started to go, there he is, he's down. He started to go back and started to make a turn. Looked like he hurt his ankle. Watch him. He's just out here, and you're going to see him. He's just backing up here, and he goes to turn. Watch. You see when he went to turn, he made that turn. I don't know if that's a knee or an ankle tackle, but it was when he started his turn is what whenever went out.
I remember way back in training camp, he started off the year with a bad ankle. Here's the handoff to Morrell, and Morrell close to a first down. Adrian Morrell traded here from the New York Jets.
And now instead of having Deion Sanders out there at that right corner, you have Charlie Williams. Now, if I were the Cardinals, I would know that. And if I'm going to work on someone, it wouldn't be Kevin Smith now. It would be that guy, Charlie Williams. Remember we did a Cardinal game here?
Sure.
One year, and Deion got hurt in the pregame warm-up. The Cardinals didn't know it, and they stayed away. They stayed away from the side the whole first half.
I made the mistake of bringing that up last night when we were talking with Chan Gailey. And he said you had to bring that up, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, it's not the ankle that they're checking on Deion Sanders. You can see that it's the foot or the toes or the ball of the foot or the end of it. But that was a non-contact injury, and he just got that as he started his twist.
Less than 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Dallas leading 7-0. Here comes the reverse. They fumbled it, and Hennings had a shot at it and got it on the rebound. That was not Hennings. That was Hervin McCormick playing in place of Hennings.
Yep, Hennings was there too. You see McCormick, yeah, it was both of them right there, but McCormick got the penetration, and he was there just as the handoff on the reverse was. That's the second reverse that the Cardinals tried to do. And I think with this defense with Deion Sanders, I don't know that you can't change your offense. I don't know that you need reverses and stuff. But watch Hervin McCormick. See, he just gets the pressure there. In fact, there's two of them right there. And then as Sanders went by, he left the ball there, and McCormick just saw the ball bounce right up to him.
So the Cowboys take over at the Cardinal 31. They open with 3 wide receivers. Emmitt Smith deep, and Aikman drops. Has some time and throws right on the money to Ernie Mills. Mills, a Cowboy first down.
And I think that Ernie Mills, you're going to see more and more of Ernie Mills. He and Billy Davis alternate every other possession, but it seems like to me that Troy Aikman is timing up a lot better with Ernie Mills than he is any of his other receivers, including Michael Irvin. You know, Michael Irvin last week didn't catch a pass in the second half, and he hasn't caught one today.
Aikman drops again. LaFleur at the 1.
That's the thing that the Cowboys wanted more and more is to get the tight end involved, because as safeties start running out, you know, to take care of wide receivers and stuff, they'll give you something in that middle. And here you see LaFleur, big LaFleur, he just takes off. Tommy Bennett was covering him. Tommy Bennett was playing his outside shoulder. LaFleur started in, kept Bennett to the outside, and then ran that short post.
And he's so big, LaFleur. That's Eric Williams headed for the sideline. He had a bad foot coming into the game too.
Yeah, he didn't play last week, didn't even dress last week. What he did, he snapped his plantar fascia.
Yeah.
And they thought that maybe he would, you know, because he snapped it. They said sometimes, the doctor said sometimes that's better than just pulling it. And the fact that it, you know, I mean, the thing just snapped off.
Aikman over with Gailey. Let's see.
But here's Eric Williams right here. And I don't know that anything. It could just be the thing that, you know, there was the injury that he brought into the game.
Has to be. First and goal with the 1. And let's see what kind of offensive line adjustment they make now. Hudson played there last week.
And Tony Hudson did a good job of playing there last week.
Emmitt Smith to the 1-foot line, just about.
I think what I would do is they had success earlier running it up the middle for a touchdown. I think I'd get over there behind Larry Allen. I think with with Tony Hudson coming in the first play, I don't know that I would run it in behind him on the goal line. They've already done that. I would think now that I would come back and either keep it in the middle or run it to the left side behind big old number 73. That's not a bad deal. You'll kind of run it right in on that area, right in there. Looks pretty good to me.
Aikman. Moose Johnston.
Play fake looks pretty good too. Where you just fake to him and they're waiting for Emmitt Smith in there, and you fake it to Emmitt. Moose Johnston, usually the blocker, he kind of fakes like he's going to block. You see, he's right here. He's just going to come out into the flat. You see the fake there to Emmitt Smith, and then Moose Johnston coming like he's going to block, and then he just goes right out inside the end zone. But good ball fake there. Good block by Emmitt Smith after he made that ball fake. And, of course, the Moose is just wide open.
That's hard to do what Emmitt did. Cunningham for the extra point.
Yeah, we're talking about turnovers. The Cardinals led the league in takeaways, and today it's the giveaway that just got them right here.
Tonight, after a new World's Fun, Deion Sanders up walking around. He might be back. I think he will be back.
Yeah, and I think the Cardinals kind of missed an opportunity there. That's the old deal. You know, when the cat goes to sleep, the mice play, and they got the cat out of there, and the mice didn't know it or tried to run a reverse, which I felt that they didn't need.
Sometimes I think, and the Cardinals are one of many teams that script their plays. I think you can get hung in that script sometimes and not call what you should be calling.
Yeah, and then you get a backup guy in there that you could work on, and you don't do it because, to me, the Cowboys have two dominant players on defense, one being Leon Lett, you better get blocked, and the other guy's Deion Sanders. So when you lose one of those dominant players, then you can go to work. You have to change your game plan a little, but you can go to work on the guy that replaces him.
Toby going to Metcalf. 5 yards deep in the end zone, and he started out and decided to stay.
Watch this. After the play, Moose Johnston caught it, and he brought it back and tried to give it to him, or gave it to the guy that threw it to him.
Yeah.
Aikman needed a touchdown pass, and like I say, I mean, Troy Aikman is such a good guy and such a good quarterback, and he's so accurate. You know that when you can give him a little time and have some guys getting open, I mean, he can be a heck of a fun guy to watch.
He can cut you to pieces. Morrell broke one tackle, looking for someplace else to go. Broke another tackle. Didn't break that of Godfrey. Right now, let's send you down to Kevin McCabe.
Well, Pat, it's like a mash unit here on the Cowboys bench. Got trainers running left and right. Of course, Deion Sanders, the big left toe. They wrapped it up. They put an extra pad in his shoe. He is back out there. Eric Williams was on the sidelines here. They worked on his left knee. Chad Hennings also having his knee examined at this point. But again, no updates right now. But trainers are scrambling at this point.
Well, put on a white coat, Kevin. They may call you in.
That'd be ugly.
Here's Plummer swarmed under. From the outside, Michael Myers and Artie Smith on the scene as well.
You know, the Cowboys are doing an interesting thing that they did with Leon Lett on that play. If you're double teamed, you just spy. Now watch Deion. He's having trouble out there. He can't run. I mean, he's trying, but that big toe or whatever it is really isn't giving him a chance. And I wouldn't be surprised if they stop the Cardinals here, that he's not back there on punt return.
Well, he's limping back up in coverage again. But you're right, he can't play. Plummer goes the other direction. Incomplete. Fred Brock, the intended receiver. Here's the original injury, John. I don't see anything.
Well, it was just when he makes a twist. This is the last play, and you see that. I mean, he just made a twist, and I think that you got your foot caught wrong or something. Deion is back there as a punt returner.
Yeah.
They started to put someone else in. Deion waved him off. I don't know that he may not be playing possum here.
Well, he could be. Lets the ball bounce. And it'll roll dead about the Dallas 35. And right now, for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, take a look at Brett Favre putting the Packers on the scoreboard. Little fade pattern to Tyrone Davis. Second fastest to 200 career touchdowns behind only Dan Marino. Packers on top of the Giants now in the second at the Meadowlands. Pat and John.
All right, we're back at MASH on the Dallas sideline.
You know, we were talking about Eric Williams, and the injury that held him out last week was a foot injury.
Yeah.
And I like to say that word, plantar fascia.
Yeah.
And yeah, plantar fascia, torn plantar fascia. But now they're working on his knee. There's Deion Sanders. He's leaving, Pat, or he's taking a lap around the field, either one, or he's going to the locker room.
Chris Warren gets the carry, gets 4.5, 5 perhaps. 14-0 as the seconds tick down in the first quarter. And that'll be the last play of the first quarter, I believe. That's the end of the first, with the score of the Cowboys 14, the Cardinals 0. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Back at Sun Devil Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden, 14-0 Dallas. Cowboys have the ball. Emmitt Smith is back behind Troy Aikman now, 2nd and 6. And here's Emmitt. Emmitt surges ahead for a Cowboy first down. Jameer Miller made the stop.
Cowboys are doing an interesting thing. They're using a lot of 3 wide receivers to spread the Cardinals out and run at them. You can look at their script and what they did with their first 15 plays. 8 of them runs, 7 passes. But again, they had 14 different formations. And then one of those plays down there inside the 10-yard line was the old option play with Ernie Mills.
Plus 2 timeouts. Emmitt Smith again. And room again for Emmitt as he surges for another Dallas first down. Ronald McKinnon and Chavis made the tackle.
And here's the block. We just watch here. Watch Flozell Adams here. And this is the one that's going to start it here. You see, he just gets his head in there and just take the guy the way he wants to go. And then finish him when he goes the way he wants to go. Then put him where you want him to go. And that's on his back.
And if you look next to him, Kieslak got a good block also.
Mike Kieslak playing in there at center, being a 31-year-old rookie. You know, he may not come out of there. I mean, he may, in this process, he may beat Clay Shiver out.
Played in Canada.
Yeah, he played in the World League. In fact, Chan Gailey was saying last night he coached against him.
Yeah.
In the World League. 31 years old. He was Doug Flutie's center up there in Canada.
Emmitt Smith already has 60 yards and 8 carries. LaFleur changes sides. And Aikman's going to roll this way with lots of time going deep. Has Eric Bjornsson wide open, and Bjornsson is coming close to scoring, but doesn't quite get in, I don't believe.
Oh, that is something. That's the old throwback, and that'll get him every time, where you bootleg right. Then you have your tight end come across and you throw to the left. Watch Troy Aikman. He's going to come out here to the right, and then Bjornsson is going to cross the field, and he's going to throw it all the way across. You see, here comes Bjornsson across the field, and he just throws it. And everyone starts to go. When Troy Aikman starts to go to his right, everyone goes to the right with him.
This is Michael Irvin, and look at 2 of them go with him.
They're doubling Michael Irvin, and that's why he hasn't had the ball yet. But in doing so, they left Eric Bjornsson wide open.
That's Emmitt Smith into the end zone for a stroll to put the Cowboys ahead 20-0.
And the last time they were down there, that's the one I was talking about, where you get in there behind Larry Allen and Nate Newton, and that's not bad over there.
And with that touchdown there by Emmitt Smith, he ties Walter Payton on the all-time list, his 125th trip to the end zone.
But again, the play that got him down there was a bootleg, and the good pass by Troy Aikman. Watch Larry Allen, the movement that he gets there. I mean, he just knocks his guy. Did you see that?
Yep.
I mean, he takes up and just knocks his guy right out of the frame. The guy was in frame, in the picture, boom, right out of the frame.
Cunningham is good. It's 21-0. Dallas. We're still in the second quarter. The Cowboys look very, very sharp.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Toyota. Get the most out of your day every day. By Burger King. If you ask us, it just tastes better. By Texaco, a world of energy. And by Nike.
$21-0. Dallas over Arizona. 13:08 left before the half. The Cowboys moving almost at will.
And the big play on that drive was that pass to Eric Bjornson. And again, the reason is they were doubling Michael Irvin. They had 2 on Michael Irvin and none on Bjornson.
Metcalf will come out with this one. And the Cowboys in a position of dominance as they were for so long in the NFC East. Just take a look at their record. Look what they've done down at the bottom. They outscored the opponents in the NFC East 171-33. Only trailed 4 minutes and 44 seconds in their games against the NFC East team. 5-0 their record. So that's dominance.
Yeah, I think, and that's because they're pretty good and they're on their way back, and the rest of the teams aren't very good.
Pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Had John Fred Taylor, the rookie, having himself an outstanding day. This is his second touchdown run of the day. This one for 3 yards. It was 14-3 at that point, but Tampa Bay has come back to make it 14-9, pending the point after. Back to Pat and John.
We're at Sun Devil Stadium. Much of the crowd on hand in shock as the Cowboys have jumped out 21-0 over the Cardinals. Plummer gives to Adrian Morrell. Woodson on the stop.
Yeah, one of the things the Cardinals are getting down 21-0 now, and they're starting to run. And if you see on their first 15 plays, they ran the ball 5 times, passed it 10 times, and they used 13 different formations. So their idea was to come out and pass, open up the thing, and then come to the run. But I think they went for some trick plays, reverses and stuff like that really gave them more trouble than have helped their offense at all.
3rd and 7. Plummer back to throw it, gets it outside to an open man. In this case, it's Rob Moore, and that will be a Cardinal first down.
I think that's the first pass that Rob Moore caught today. And you're going to see again, he's out here on Kevin Smith with Deion Sanders back in the game. If you're going to throw to a wide receiver, you want to throw it at Kevin Smith. Whether he's in tight coverage or off. He's on his way back to getting confidence, but he really doesn't have the confidence yet.
Limping Deion Sanders on the other side.
And they still stay away from him. And I think that's smart. I mean, there's a couple things you're going to get, but I think it's a lot smarter to work on Kevin Smith.
Morrell. Battling for yards. Godfrey and Coakley.
Deion Sanders is really in pain back here. He doesn't even go into the huddle. Just watch this. We can see he's standing here about the 40-yard line, and then all the rest of the guys are in the huddle. So he stands out there by himself. He waits for the safeties to come out of the huddle. They tell him what the defense is. But he just says, I'm just going to take the guy that comes out to my side, and I'm just going to cover him. And you other 10 do what you have to do.
Here's Plummer looking in that direction. Incomplete. Intended for Gedney underneath. Sailed over his head. And you saw Deion limping way back.
And I think that you may be able to work on Deion in that time. He had the guy deep, and he was bringing Gedney across, and Gedney was the second level. Deion was covering the deep level. You see, Deion's covering the deep level. He's going here. Gedney's going to come across here. But I don't know that you couldn't throw one to Rob Moore out there on Deion Sanders.
He's having trouble running. Here's Plummer back to throw. Up the middle to Gedney again, and Gedney gets down a pass. The Cowboy 25, finally taken down by Charlie Williams. First down, Arizona.
Plummer's trying to get his team up there to the line of scrimmage to hurry up, to not let the defense get set. Here he just hits Gedney right in the middle. Now, Gedney does a smart thing. Just take it straight up the middle. Just go there. Don't be cutting outside or anything. See, he gets the ball here. Now just turn your shoulder square and just run right up to the goalpost.
First down at the 25. Morrell cuts back over the middle for a couple. Michael Myers made the stop.
I was just going to say, I like the mixture now that the Cardinals are in. Their offensive coordinator is Mark Trestman. Remember, he was with the 49ers a few years ago, Detroit Lions, and he's the offensive coordinator. There he is right there. I like his mixture now better than I did earlier. Now he looks like he's getting back to the run, solid passing, those kinds of things, as compared to the tricks like the reverses that I don't really feel you need.
Busted play. Plummer makes something happen, gets back to the line of scrimmage. But that one was out of sync.
Yeah, well, Plummer thought it was going to the left, and the back went to the right.
Yep.
Adrian Morrell was the back, and he went to the right, and Plummer goes to hand off to the left. Now watch it. See, Adrian Morrell is going to come to this side. Plummer goes this way. See, Plummer goes to the left and goes, oops. But he's smart enough. Don't go where you made the mistake. Go to where the blocking was. So that had to be Plummer's mistake because he had the blocking on his right side.
3rd and 9. No blitz. Quick delivery to Rob Moore. Incomplete.
The teams are throwing that slant pass so much now that I think the corners are starting to play it better than the wide receivers are.
And that's Kevin Smith down.
And Kevin Smith was the guy who played it, and he's the guy that's down. But here's Kevin Smith out here on Rob Moore. The slant is you go up about 3 steps, then you just break to your inside. You see, he has a little swim move, but the corners see that 3-step drop of the quarterback and that quick move to the inside, and they just cut off that point where the slant's going to be thrown to.
And that was an excellent play by Kevin Smith. 21-0 Dallas. They're checking Kevin Smith's left shoulder. That's where he landed on that coverage.
Yeah, watch. We talked about the slant. He cuts off the slant, and you see as he reaches in there, he came down right on his left shoulder.
Here's Joe Nedney trying to get the Cardinals on the scoreboard from 40 yards out. That's going to be far enough and no good. They don't get on the scoreboard. Far enough, but wide left. 21-0, 8:51 left before halftime. On October the 5th, the Vikings went into Lambeau Field and ended the Packers' home winning streak. Next week, it's payback time as the Packers look to return the favor against their divisional rivals. Coverage begins with the pregame show live from the Metrodome at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listing. That ought to be a dandy next week.
Yeah, Green Bay always has trouble with Minnesota up in Minnesota. And this year, Minnesota beat Green Bay in Green Bay.
Here's Emmitt Smith. Swinger.
And then how about Randall? How about Randall Cunningham coming back? I mean, that's amazing. I mean, the surgery and guys and how they can come back. And look at Minnesota's 9-1. Green Bay, you talk about needing a game at 6-3. Tampa Bay still alive at 4-5.
You think that Randall Cunningham was out of football. He's in his mid-30s and still heals in a week.
You know, at some point you have to say that the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings are for real.
Aikman. LaFleur. Spins ahead for a Cowboy first down. Stopped by Tillman. Eric Williams back in the offensive line.
Yeah, and he does a good job. I mean, he has a rookie, Andre Wadsworth, who he's blocking against, and Andre Wadsworth is going to be a good one. But I'll tell you, you know, he's in for a match today. On that one, it was a stunt, and you saw Andre Wadsworth went to the inside. Eric Williams will let him go, and then he just waited for the tackle to come to the outside.
And Flozell Adams picked up Wadsworth. And that's the way those two offensive linemen should work together like that.
And that was a problem that Flozell Adams was having earlier in the season that he's not having now. He's finally getting it.
Dallas timeout. That's all of them. First half. Today, the MetLife Blimp has teamed up with us here on Fox to provide an aerial view of today's NFL action. Combined, Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 have covered over 70 sporting and special events in 1998. They've been busy. You could take that instead of the bus.
No, that's slower. I mean,
it is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A blimp is slower than a bus because a blimp hovers.
Outside, Emmitt Smith. And the Cardinals, Ronald McKinnon played it extremely well.
Yeah, one thing in this game, the tricks aren't working today. Have you noticed that? The solid football, the running, the pass protection, the throwing is working, and the tricks other than, well, I will say that option play did work down there. But Troy Aikman, isn't this, since his injury, he's been 19 out of 24 for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. That essentially hurt his finger. And I think he doesn't grip it the same. He doesn't put that right index finger on the ball as tightly, and I think maybe that's helped him a little.
Here's Emmitt Smith. Emmitt taken down by Simeon Rice and Jameer Miller.
The guy that he's not throwing to is Michael Irvin.
I know it.
The last time Michael Irvin caught a pass was in the first half of the Giants game.
Last week.
Yeah, a week ago. He hasn't caught a pass since then, and knowing Michael Irvin, he's going to get frustrated at some point. And I think that, I don't believe that you feed a guy, and I don't believe that you make your team one-dimensional, but I do believe that you have to keep all your guys in the game.
This is 4 wide receivers in the shotgun formation. 5 wide receivers make it. The Cardinals not showing blitz.
What they call an empty backfield.
And Aikman just does get it out of there. This is Patrick Jeffers, who made the catch, just activated this week.
And this is a guy that Troy Aikman really likes. They got him just before the regular season started from Denver. And Troy Aikman was telling us last night that Pat Jeffers is going to be active today, going to play in the 4 receivers, and he said that he's even going to play more than that.
Yeah.
But he said he's liked him from day one.
Very fast, a big tall target.
He said that next year he may be the starting wide receiver opposite Michael Irvin.
Goins kick bounces backwards, takes a Cardinal bounce. This time it bounces out of bounds at about the 25. Eater.
Yeah, I don't know about that guy. There's the guy that played this position here. See, that guy that did that, played that position there where you just pile up. That's the old
like a
King of the Hill. Remember King of the Hill and they pile on the guy? Yeah. That's King of the Hill piling on at the end.
Plummer. Incomplete and tried to drop it off for Moore. Flag on the play.
And then what happens to the guy who's at the bottom of that pile? Then, like 25 years from now, he'll be eating bees. That's how that guy that's eating bees got
tell you
that.
what.
He used to do that 25 years ago.
I don't care how many times I'm on the bottom of that pile. I'm not going to be eating bees.
Oh, then you haven't been on the bottom of the pile a lot.
Oh, yes, I have.
Now, but sometimes they got foreign objects down there.
Yeah.
And the guy pulls like foreign objects out, and then that makes you eat bees.
Offense, 10 yards, repeat first down.
Johnny McWilliams, the man penalized. 5:06 left to play in the first half, and Dallas leading 21-0 over Arizona.
And I think the Cardinals just have to get back. They had a pretty good drive the last time they had the ball, and mixing in the run and the pass and some bootlegs and some of those kinds of things, and just get back to that now.
First and 20. Here's Plummer. And Deion Sanders stepped in front of him and picked it off. He'll lull you to sleep. Deion doesn't get in, I don't think, by about a yard.
And he limped on that one too. That's the thing. If you're going to work on Deion Sanders, you're going to get one. But the second time you go to it, he's going to get it.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that. And watch it. I mean, here he
Badly
can't even run.
Limping.
And it's going to be that slant again. Like I was saying, these corners are starting to play that slant better than the receivers are running it, and the quarterbacks are throwing it. Deion Sanders was just looking in there. He's looking in there at that 3-step drop, and now watch Deion. He just beats him to the point because he was looking in at Jake Plummer, and he keyed the drop and the look. Jake Plummer took a 3-step drop, looked to his left. Deion was keying him, knew the point where the ball was going to be thrown, and went to that point.
First and goal at the 2. Smith's the deep back. And Emmett surge doesn't get him in. Not quite.
They tried to get Eric Bjornson in there to run what they call a wham.
There goes Deion to the locker room.
Now, this is the second time he's gone to the locker room already. Now watch Bjornson here. He comes in, then he comes back in. You see, and that's a form of a trap. Bjornson kind of got trapped. That's the old deal that I remember I used to teach defensive tackles and ends to trap the trapper. And that time the trapper got trapped.
Second and goal at the 1.
Deion's logging a lot of time in the clubhouse in this first half.
A lot of walking time. Here's Emmitt Smith. And Emmett doesn't get in again. About a foot shy.
Looked like if he would have just gotten down and driven a couple more steps that he would have been in. And the Cardinals have gotten good penetration down here in these last 2 defensive surges, and that's what it's all about, is just who gets lower than the other guy. Now watch him. These guys here all get lower. You see, and then they get the penetration right there, and then they get the safety up in there, and then the corner, Aeneas Williams, was the guy that finally knocked him back.
Imagine Emmett gets another carry. Remember, he just tied Walter Payton on the touchdown list, and he scores this time. Touchdown Emmett. That's his second of the day. And he moves ahead of the great.
And look at Flozell Adams and how happy he is. You know, that's what you get as a lineman. You know, you get the thing when they run goal line and they run in behind you, and you're able to get a double team and get the guy down and get him going back and create the hole so the guy can score a touchdown. That's why you play offensive line.
Not only does Emmitt Smith move ahead of Walter Payton, he ties Jim Brown. Now he has only 2 in front of him, Marcus Allen and Jerry Rice.
Emmitt Smith has been a warrior in this league for 9 years, and those numbers prove it. When you pass a Walter Payton and tie a Jim Brown, you have played some football.
You've been a warrior.
And that's where you have to be a warrior, is down there in the goal line. You know, I mean, that's the thing. You know, they had that old deal in golf, you know, where you putt for drive for show and putt for dough. It's the same thing in football. You play in the middle of the field for show,
for yards,
and you play on the goal line for dough,
for touchdown.
And it's guys like Emmitt Smith, you know, that have been playing for dough and winning the dough for a long time.
28-0. Cunningham was good again. 28-0 Dallas.
You can see Eric Williams was over there with them. Those guys, that's what, you know, I was talking about earlier, that as an offensive lineman, you don't get to carry the ball. You don't get a lot of things. Pass protection really isn't fun because you have to be passive. But when you get down on the goal line and you're going to run the ball and you can just tee off and drive, that's what gets a lineman excited.
Yep. It's funny, we were meeting with the Cowboys last night, walked outside, and there was Emmett sitting in the hallway all by himself. He had forgotten to set his watch to Mountain Time and was an hour early for the devotional period. So he just waited. Michael Pittman on the return. We talked to Emmitt Smith about Chan Gailey and the new offense.
We're hiring Coach Gailey was one of the best things that could have happened for all of us, because in terms of turning the system itself around, because we was locked and loaded in the same system for a period of 8 years. Now, well, it's actually 7 years, and now we have something new. And I think that newness is what revived everybody.
It certainly appears to be true that everybody was revived.
Well, from a year ago, but that same system won them a few Super Bowls.
Yes, it did.
That system that North Turner brought in and Ernie Zampese had, they won a lot of games, and Troy Aikman threw for a lot of passes, and Emmitt Smith made a lot of yards under that system, though, too.
Eric Metcalf made that reception from Jake Plummer.
And I think where they needed the new system was from a year ago to this year. And that's what Chan Gailey's given.
Jake Plummer saw nobody in the middle. Deion Sanders, we saw go to the locker room early. They're x-raying, not rating, x-raying his big toe, I would imagine. That's what.
And that was after he got the interception. You know, this thing is about, running and stopping the run. The Cowboys in the first half have run for 78 yards, and the Cardinals only 6.
That pass is caught. Eric Metcalf again. That's Kevin Smith back in. They put a pad on his shoulder and rewrapped it. Put the pads back on, and he's playing.
And Jake Plummer's trying to get one here before the 2-minute warning. He's not going to do it, though.
2 minutes to go in the first half at Sun Devil Stadium in Dallas over the Cardinals, 28-0.
Light, an official sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 33.
Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB and Terry will have scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. Cardinal ball, 2 minutes to go in the first half.
See the guy with the he darn near put his shirt on.
Incomplete. Frank Sanders.
I think Frank Sanders felt that safety there. And watch this. He's kind of pulling up. Part of it, you have to come under control in that hole, but again, you have to stretch out for the ball.
He saw Kenny Wheaton coming.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, that's one that the quarterback shouldn't throw sometimes, though, too.
To Morrell from Plummer.
Yeah, the Cardinals are going with no huddle here, and the toughest points in football to get are always the first ones, and I think it's very important. I know it's 28-0, but I think it's very important before they go in that the Cardinals put something on this scoreboard.
Plummer chase and throws, and he has Frank Sanders this time across the middle. First down, Cardinals, and they only have one timeout left.
And they still have one timeout, and that's the one that you want to save for your kicker. If you save one timeout, then you can continue to throw the ball inside. If you don't have any timeouts, you have to throw it outside or in the end zone.
Plummer drops again. Chased, and down he goes. He got rid of the ball just barely. Greg Ellis in pursuit. When you're behind 28-0, you want to save a timeout for your kicker?
Yeah. You want to save a timeout because if you have to kick the field goal, you don't want the timeout to run.
Question is, would you kick a field goal?
Oh yeah. Because the toughest points are those first ones, and when you're sitting up there with a 0, you have to break that. I learned that in 1969 from George Blanda. Always get the first ball. Always take that field goal.
Plummer drops and throws. And the pass is caught by Sanders. He's out of bounds at about the 3, covered by Woodson.
And I say you take the 3 compared to none, not compared to 7, obviously.
Right.
And that's what Frank Sanders, you see, is running a corner pattern here. He runs a pretty good pattern on Darren Woodson. He got Woodson to bite on that inside move to the post, and then he came back to the corner.
They're at the 4.
They do pretty well down here, as you can see. They're 4th in the NFL.
Morrell to the 3.
All right, let him up.
Clock's running, and again they have only one timeout left. And now they've taken that. They have no timeouts left.
Now, and that changes now. That means that you're going to have to throw the ball.
Coming up on the Visa halftime report, again a reminder that JB and Terry will have scores and highlights from around the league in our Fox Sports ticker up to the second stats, all coming up on the Visa halftime report. It is 28-0 Dallas. Cardinals at the Cowboy 3. No timeouts left.
Yeah, and then when you have no timeouts left, like I said, then that means that you have to throw. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys went with a Foreman nickel. Although it looks like they're taking your nickel out, I would leave the nickel in, because this has to be a passing down.
Last time they gave up a touchdown was at Soldier Field in Chicago. Centers on the move, and here's Plummer. And he's chased and throws incomplete in the end zone. No flag. Kevin Smith right there. Frank Sanders, the intended receiver.
See, here's Frank Sanders. He's in the slot, and they try and run a pick there and then get him free. He was free early, but by the time Jake Plummer, because he was on a rollout or sprint out, by the time he got ready to throw, Frank Sanders was covered. But when at that point where they had that pick, he was open for a split second of about 5 yards, and then after that he wasn't open.
3rd and goal. Here's Plummer again. Touchdown to Sanders.
He got that one out there quicker that time. He shortened his sprint out and got it out there quicker, and that's what the Cardinals needed. They needed to get something on the board here. When Sanders again is in the slot here, there's no pick this time. He's just getting inside the end zone and running the out. Again, Jake Plummer came out on a sprint, but it was a short sprint, and he was ready to throw the ball quickly. Watch how short it is. 1, 2, 3, boom, he's ready to throw right now. And Sanders was smart enough to know all he had to do was get inside that goal line on that out pattern.
Nedney for the extra point. It's 28-7. Cowboys lead with 14 seconds left to play in the first half.
And that was big for the Cardinals, because now they've broken that thing, and it's always easier to score after you've scored.
Plummer's already thrown 23 passes. Just got the touchdown. He had the one intercepted by Deion Sanders.
You know, and if he hadn't have thrown that one to Deion, that slant down there that Deion played after he had beaten Deion on a slant once before, the next one is usually going to be Deion's. The score would be 21-7.
Two injured cornerbacks for the Cowboys. Shoulder sprain for Kevin Smith, and Deion with a bad toe, and it just happened without contact.
That was Deion's, and then Kevin Smith was on this slant when he falls on his left shoulder, but as we said, he came back off of that, and he's playing now.
They both came back.
Yeah, right, and then Deion went back out again. Deion came back in long enough to get an interception, and then he went back into the locker room.
Nedney to kick it off. Knuckles it down to Jeff Ogden. That's Ogden. Out to the 40. 6 seconds left to play in the first half, and the Cowboys will probably just sit on it.
I would think that this is a pretty good opportunity to take a shot though, Pat, because you're at the 40-yard line. And you know, when you throw a deep pass, one, you can complete the thing, but also there's a chance of pass interference, and the game or the half can't end on a defensive penalty. So that's another thing you pick up. But it doesn't look like looks like the Cowboys are just going to kneel down here and be satisfied 28-7.
I think I would be. Chan Gailey has done a heck of a job, and he was sort of a mysterious hire when Jerry Jones hired him, but
to that Cowboy organization, because the last couple of years they weren't very stable, and the whole thing kind of fell apart on them last year, and they needed someone to come in and put the pieces back together, because they still had some great players, some dominant players, and Chan Gailey's that guy, and he's come back in and he's putting it together.
So it's halftime at Sun Devil Stadium. A beautiful day here for everybody except the Cardinals. It's 28-7. Dallas leads. From Glenn Sabree in Kentucky. Why is Emmitt Smith playing better now than he did in 1996 or 1997? I'll put that question to John Madden.
You know, I think it's three things, Pat. I think, one, Emmitt Smith is healthy. I mean, a year ago, he wasn't healthy. He had that bad ankle, and he couldn't make cuts. Moose Johnston wasn't healthy. I think that's the second point. And then I think Chan Gailey coming in with a new system, a fresh system, and, you know, is kind of giving Emmitt Smith and his blockers and Moose Johnston and everyone around him a new life.
And I think, of course, you have to give credit to the offensive line as well, as Emmitt does.
And I think they're the same thing, that they're healthy too. I mean, you know, that Eric Williams is back and Larry Allen has adjusted at left tackle. I think Flozell Adams has really done a good job, you know, at that right guard. And that whole thing, you know, you take everyone's health and all those guys back together.
And to summarize the first half, Arizona, which has lived on taking advantage of the turnovers, capitalizing on turnovers, has committed 2-0 for Dallas. Dallas has gotten 14 points off those 2 turnovers. Emmitt Smith has rushed 14 times for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Michael Irvin doesn't have a catch yet today.
You know, and the other big thing, it says there that the Cowboys, you know, don't have any turnovers. The other thing, they don't have a penalty. The Cowboys didn't have a penalty in the first half. And then here's the big thing. This is what's really hurting the Cardinals. If you look on first down, they're only averaging 2.5. So that's part of it's a Cowboy defense. Part of it is that Cardinal offense. Then that gives them that 3rd and long. So they're averaging darn near 3rd and 7. And it's tough to play against nickel defenses. And the Cowboys are one of the best nickel defenses in football. And it's hard to play against that defense, especially. It's hard for any quarterback.
Yeah.
I was going to say especially for a young quarterback.
Well, of course, if you look at the field position.
Yeah, they haven't had. I mean, the Cardinals haven't had any field position. Look at where they've started. I mean, it's all been down there. The best place that they've started was right there at about the 25-yard line. So they've had to go a long field. I mean, they've had to go at least 75 yards every time they've gotten the ball. And you're not going to do that against this Dallas Cowboy defense.
The band had better field position than the Cardinals did.
And how about those cheerleaders that they had in the pregame? They had some mature cheerleaders.
Mature is correct.
Yeah, male and female.
Mature is kind, maybe.
And they looked like they were having fun. And sometimes that's what life is all about, is having some fun, huh?
Boy, you got that right. Dallas kickoff sails down to Metcalf. A short kick. Metcalf brings it out of there to the 40. Good return. And the Cardinals just put an end to that starting point on their field position.
And that makes a difference. And now instead of having that 75 or 80 yards to go, they have 60 yards to go.
And let's check out carefully who starts at cornerback.
Well, you know, some of the Cowboys are still coming out of the locker room.
Yeah.
There's one, in fact, I think that's Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith just ran out of the locker room, and he ran right to his left corner position. He did.
Well, Deion Sanders is not playing. Kevin Smith is. Charlie Williams has taken Deion's place.
I think that's where I'd go to work.
Plummer on first down has the ball batted back about 30 yards by Kavika Pittman.
You know, the interesting thing, the thing we talked about the Cardinals earlier is, is how they led the whole NFL in takeaways with 27, and now instead of taking away, they're giving it away, and the Cowboys are doing on defense what the Cardinals had been doing on defense.
2nd and 10. Plummer. Caught by Sanders. And let's send you down to the sideline to Kevin McCabe.
Well, guys, the X-ray results are in, and there doesn't appear to be any bone damage to Deion Sanders' left big toe. He was walking around without the shoe off, limping around. Told me that it wasn't likely he would return with the lead the way it is, but you know Deion, he likes to play possum, as you mentioned earlier, John. If the score shrinks a little bit, don't be surprised if you see 21 return in dramatic fashion.
Morrell trying to get the first down, doesn't get it. The Cowboys knock him backwards. It's 4th and about 1.5 yards, and what do you do now?
I think you have to punt. I mean, there's too much time, and you've already had a turnover, and I think you punt and give the Cowboys a long field, although the Cardinals aren't going to do it. I mean, that's what I would do, but I don't think they're going to do it unless they're going to try and draw them off sides here.
4th and 1, and Plummer up under the center and drops to throw it. Hit just as he let it go, but gets the completion in front of Darren Woodson as Sanders.
I'll tell you, that's confidence in your young quarterback. You know, you would think, short yardage, they'd run it, they'd get in split backs, and Jake Plummer throws the ball. But he just comes back here, and again, he's found a guy that he's going to throw to, and Frank Sanders. Frank Sanders was a guy that, was catching those passes, caught the touchdown pass just before the half.
First down. And Sanders looking back into the sun. I'm sure he couldn't see it.
He's putting his hand up there like he's shielding his eyes from the sun because, as you say, that was a perfect pass. I mean, Jake Plummer throws it right into Frank Sanders' hands.
Not the perfect spiral.
Well, it's not a tight spiral, but it does hit him right in the hands.
He lost.
In fact, man, it hit him in the shoulder before it even got to his hand.
The sun blinded him. Here comes Dion, no shoulder. Yeah, he does have his shoulder pads on, doesn't he?
Now, he just wears small shoulder pads, but the key, he doesn't have a hat. I mean, he's wearing a cap.
He is limping.
You have to have a hard hat to play this game.
The blitz didn't quite get to Plummer as he got the ball to Johnny McWilliams, and that'll be another Cardinal first down. Touchdown here, they can get back in it.
And you know what I like about Jake Plummer is he has quickness. I mean, he can get back there. There's going to be a pretty good pass rush here. He just steps up. He's going to take a hit there, but he just steps right up into it. Randall Godfrey was right in his face, and he got that ball out of there.
Jake the Snake, the local hero. Drafted by the Cardinals after the years at Arizona State. That's Morrell for a yard, perhaps.
He was saying yesterday how it's kind of an advantage that there was one less adjustment that he had to make, and that was, changing towns. I mean, he not only played football in this town at college at Arizona State, but he also played his college football in this stadium. They're going with that no huddle.
2nd and 7. Plummer swamped. Godfrey first there.
That was one of the things that the Cowboys talked about, that they were going to rush Randall Godfrey more than they had before. Just use him as a pass rusher. And you see he's just blitzing right here. No one blocked him. It was a little delayed blitz. Looked like Lester Holmes, the guard, looked at him, and then Randall Godfrey just delayed for a second, and then Lester Holmes took his eyes off him, and then he came.
Here's Plummer. The protection this time is good, and the receiver is wide open. That's Sanders, and Sanders trying to get around Kevin Smith. And it's going to be 1st and goal, Cardinals.
Kevin Smith is a lot better when he plays up tight, and he just gives too much cushion. You see, he's up there, but he's not up in a position where he can bump him. See, and then he has to run off, and then he runs off too far. You see, he reads up, and then the Giants did the same thing to him last week. But Frank Sanders is having a big day.
Is he ever? 1st and goal at the 8. Plummer better hurry.
He's audibleizing here.
Jake throws the fade. Incomplete. Charlie Williams was there with Eric Metcalf.
I think that's where he wants to go. I mean, they realize that Deion Sanders isn't there now, and they have Charlie Williams. He's a guy that they want to work on, and he throws that fade or that quick up. That's a pretty good throw. I mean, that's
pretty good coverage.
Yeah, it was good coverage by Charlie Williams, and very close to being a completion. They're all having trouble with his son now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Cardinals. Even Jake Plummer is having trouble as he's looking into that sun.
Shadows just out at the end of the line, the offensive line. Cowboys showing blitz, and Plummer calls timeout.
Yeah, because he had one of those empty backfields, so he had no one to pick up a blitz.
28-7.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volvo. Volvo reminds you to drive safely.
See, why the Cardinals had to take timeout is when you have 5 receivers, that means you only have 5 blockers. Now, you can block 5, so you got 4 here. When the 5th comes up, you can still block him. When the 6th comes up, you can't block it. You're going to be a guy short.
And we're back live, 2nd and 8. Plummer going to take off himself. And he's chased out of bounds at the 8, and there's a flag on the play. They had him by the face mask.
And that's the 2nd time that happened. The back went to the left, and Jake Plummer went to the right to hand it off to him, and he wasn't there. The 2nd time that's happened in this game. Jake Plummer, you know, can move with the ball, so when he makes a mistake like that, he just takes off.
Face mask.
See, now he's going to turn the wrong way, or the back goes. See, he turns to the right, and there's no one there to hand off, so he just runs the ball himself. And then you'll watch right here at the end, you see Kevin Smith make the thing, and he just put his left hand up on Plummer's face. I don't know.
That's close.
I don't know that that's a face mask at all.
I don't think so.
I mean, he never did get his hand on the face mask. I mean, he got his hand up there, but he never did grab it at all.
He took it away after he got it up there almost immediately. Jake Plummer in the 2nd half last week, 16 out of 17. This week he's pretty effective too, 17 out of 30.
And that's the first Cowboy penalty today.
Yep. Still 2nd down. And goal. Plummer incomplete, short. Rob Moore, the intended receiver. That's a tough place to throw it looking back in that sun.
Rob Moore didn't even look back in the sun. I think that you know Jake Plummer threw it before Rob Moore turned, and I don't know that Rob Moore even ever turned, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
that's what the sun looks like, and maybe without Deion Sanders here, I'm sure they're still trying to work on Kevin Smith over there, but maybe it's a little easier to work on the shady part of the field.
Well, they got the wide side over here as well. And a timeout this time.
Because this is a tough area to
Arizona
work right here.
They take their 2nd timeout.
They've wasted a heck of a lot. That's the 4th timeout they've wasted in this game.
28-7 Dallas.
NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
13th play of this drive coming up. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. Sun Devil Stadium, the home of the Cardinals, and Dallas leading 28-7. The Cardinals trying to cut that lead. Plummer. Incomplete. I think it hit the defender in the back of the head.
I think that was Charlie Williams, and it did. Charlie Williams gets right inside of Rob Moore. You see, he's inside. Rob Moore has him beaten. Had that ball been thrown outside, that's a touchdown.
Yep.
He throws it a little short, and he throws it right into the back of Charlie Williams' head. See, because Rob Moore really did have Charlie Williams beaten, and he could have thrown it to the corner pylon.
They're going to go on 4th. Plummer looking for a place to go, and he won't get there. Flag on the play. Leon Lett. Plummer might have fumbled, and the Cowboys have it, but there's a penalty marker down.
And it's down in that end zone, and it's the same area where they were working before, where Rob Moore is. And in fact, that was the place that Jake Plummer was trying to throw. Rob Moore to the left side, and that's going to be the penalty against the Cowboys. It'll probably be against Charlie Williams because he was out there on Rob Moore just like he was the play before. This is going to be an automatic 1st down.
And that's a big penalty. 25 he's asking. That's Charlie Williams.
Holding. 25 defense. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
See, and they started to work the left side. Here it is right here. They started to work Rob Moore. They started to work Charlie Williams. And they started to work the shade. I don't know that Rob Moore doesn't push off first, and then Charlie Williams pushes off. There's so much pushing this way on every pass they do that.
That's a tough call. That's Mario Bates. He's herded backwards.
I'll tell you, they load up on you, you know, down here in the goal line. You look at that guy there, Darren Woodson. He's a safety, but he plays just like a linebacker. And again, they really load up, and it's tough to get because they're always going to have a free guy. And you see, they not only have a free guy at the point of attack, but they also have a free guy coming from the backside.
That's Omar Stoutmeyer first up there.
And Omar Stoutmeyer is another safety that can play like a linebacker.
2nd and 2.
There's a play pass.
He's in. Mario Bates. Touchdown Cardinals. Narrows the gap to 2 touchdowns. 28-14. The Cowboys haven't been on the field on offense in the second half yet.
Adrian Morrell was the starting running back for the Cardinals, but when they get down on the goal line, they bring in Mario Bates. And you can see Bates here. This is a little counter. You see, he starts to the right, then he's going to cut back to the left. That looked like he bobbled that thing a little, didn't it?
Yes, he did.
But you see, when he started to the right, then the Cowboys really went for that 4-hole, and he ran it back into the 5-hole.
Nedney for the extra point. I think it got through. It did. It was deflected, but it still got through, and it's 28-14. Touchdown Bates. (28-14) third quarter. Mario Bates, who just scored the touchdown to get the Cardinals closer. Emmitt Smith has already passed Walter Payton and tied Jim Brown today in all-time career touchdown. Nedney's kickoff sails deep, and the Cowboys will start at the 20. Chris Warren.
You wonder what, you know, we talk about being on a pile and on the bottom of the pile and what it's like. Look at Jake Plummer.
You're a lot better if you're face down.
And he's the quarterback, and he gets beaten up like that. That's in the trenches. You never expect the old quarterback to be in the trenches, but old Jake got caught in the trenches, and 25 years from now, he's going to have bees in his mouth.
Now the Cardinal defense will be challenged and see if they can hold up their end of it as the offensive unit has put them closer. Here's Aikman. Gets it to LaFleur, and LaFleur carries a couple for an extra yard or two. Pat Tillman.
You know, Troy Aikman tried to get that one to Michael Irvin, Pat, and that's when he kind of load and reloaded and brought it back again because of the coverage. And Michael Irvin still hasn't caught a pass, but he's going to come in here, and you see the safety looking here, and the corner gets a jump on it. That's Aeneas Williams. Aeneas Williams did the same thing that Deion Sanders did on the interception.
Well, he follows Michael Irvin wherever he goes.
Yeah, and he beat Michael Irvin to the slant point.
They need 2 for a first. Emmitt Smith might have gotten 2, but that's all. Mark Smith made the first contact with him.
Aeneas Williams is one of the solid players. He's an 8th-year guy, and he's one of the solid players that this Cardinal team has had for a long time. And you know, every week he takes a tough receiver. He's a Pro Bowl corner, and you know, you just hope that someday that these guys that are great players and really good guys, you hope that someday that they win and start to get in some playoffs and championships and maybe a Super Bowl in their career.
First down. Aikman. There's a flag on the play. Who's going to throw it?
Yeah, but that is a pretty good battle out there between Aeneas Williams and Michael Irvin. And
Always
Aeneas
has
Williams
been.
keeps switching them up.
Snap, false start, 89 offense. 5 yards, repeat first down.
LaFleur.
You know, David LaFleur must lead all of football in false starts. And I think at some point Chan Gailey's going to lose his cool about this guy, because this is one of the things that he calls pre-snap penalties.
He's still in his stance.
Yeah, well, he's bluffing that one because he had moved and then stayed there. I think David LaFleur, I never heard Chan Gailey say it, but I think David LaFleur is driving Chan Gailey crazy with that.
We keep saying we're trying to get him more involved. And Aikman drops the throw. The toss is caught. by Billy Davis.
What a perfect throw by Troy Aikman. That was perfect. Billy Davis got a step. And then when Billy Davis got that step, Troy Aikman put it right in there. Tom Knight is number 22. He's the corner. Watch Billy Davis gets one little push, and Troy Aikman makes a perfect pass.
That's with that bad finger.
Yeah, I think that bad finger is just a thing that makes him throw better. Because then he doesn't worry about all the other things. Because Troy Aikman tends to be a little worrywart, you know.
A big worrywart.
Well, he's a big worrywart. So that gives him something to worry about so then he can just go play.
1st and 10 Dallas at the Cardinal 31, and now they stop the clock.
But those wristbands that he's playing with doesn't mean he doesn't know his plays. That's just to call the plays quicker. And the guy that emailed him about what are you doing with wristbands, you don't know the offense, don't email him anymore. Because he blames us for that.
I was talking to Dave Campo, who runs the Cowboy defensive unit, before the game. He said, please say hello to my son Mike. There's Dave, who's been in traction for 3.5 weeks with a broken leg. Just the message was, I haven't forgotten about you, son.
Well, we say hello to Mike too, and best wishes to him. To Dave, who's done an outstanding job with this Cowboy defense.
He really has.
He's been the coordinator.
Emmett Smith, the lone back. Aikman wheels it outside to Billy Davis.
You know, Billy Davis, a week ago, I was looking at him, and he had his hair platinum.
Yeah.
You know, and it was all the color. He had platinum, and then today I looked at it, and he had it all shaved off. So he's a lot quicker this week. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I think he's picked up 1.5 steps today.
Well, platinum's heavy. It slows you down.
And he had, yeah, it's a material, and he had it all taken off, and he's picked up 1.5 steps. What do you call that? It's a, you know, it's a thing. You know, people, it's a commodity they trade in.
Platinum, yeah, oh yeah. Valuable commodity. That's Emmitt Smith, cut down after it looked like he might break it by Pat Tillman.
Pat Tillman is an interesting guy. He was a 7th round pick of the Cardinals, and he also played here at Arizona State. But he was a linebacker, you know, like Darren Woodson was, but
He
was an inside.
doesn't have his head shaved.
Yeah, he was an inside linebacker. No, he's the opposite of Billy Davis. Billy Davis doesn't have any of the hair, and Pat Tillman has all of the hair. He took, like when they had the hair shelf,
yeah.
Pat Tillman took it all.
You mean he won all the prizes?
He took all the hair off the shelf. How much this hair you want? I'll take it all.
Here's that option play coming again. Mills kept it that time and cut it upfield to the 15.
You know, they also had, Chan Gailey was saying, for this area in a short yardage, they had a play like that for Deion Sanders, and I'll bet you it was going to be Ernie Mills running the option, and the guy that he was going to option it to would probably be Deion Sanders. But Deion Sanders, because of his injury, hasn't been any part of the offense today.
Just over 5 minutes left, and Aikman, I think, was going to call a timeout, or he's checking with the official about something. Yes, he wants a timeout.
He's wasted a timeout.
Yep. They have 2 left. The Cowboys do. 4:54 left in the third.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. By the motor oil that provides maximum protection, Castrol GTX, drive hard. And by the United States Marine Corps, the change is forever.
The other guy, the guy down there,
Dog?
he lost.
Yeah, that was Dog. He was a slow draw. Did you see him? I mean, he looked like a stiff trying to draw. Where you end up, if you're a stiff and a slow draw, you're going to end up in your back.
Aikman back to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt to the 10 and out of bounds at about the 7. First down, first and goal from that point.
Yeah, one of the guys that's still springing Emmitt Smith is Moose Johnston.
Yeah.
But not leading inside as much as he used to. Remember when they used to just ram Moose in there, and then Emmitt Smith would follow him inside? Now they're going outside, but they're doing the same type of thing. And if you see Moose Johnson, he's number 48 there. Watch him right here. He'll still get a block that will spring Emmitt Smith, but it's a different type of block than it used to be.
No longer the battering ram type, and this is a timeout.
And that's Aeneas Williams down there. Pro Bowl player that we were just talking about. It's really been in a battle all day with Michael Irvin. In fact, he has shut Michael Irvin out today.
So far.
They've mixed up the coverages, and he's had help. We've seen Pat Tillman give him some help. You're going to see number 35 come in right there. So he just kind of gets caught up in there.
Been a hard day for cornerbacks. Kevin Smith with a bad shoulder, and Aeneas Williams limping now. Deion Sanders unable to return after a bad toe problem. That was Aeneas Williams' right toe. There's Deion back with a baseball hat on. He's still limping.
You know, you always think of corners as just covering and covering wide receivers, but if you run a sweep to their side, and a lot of times they have force and support, and they not only have to come up and make the tackle, but they have to take on guards and tackles and, you know, fullbacks and those kinds of things.
First and goal at the 6. There's that famous list on Aikman's wrist.
You know, there wasn't one pass attempted on Aeneas Williams today.
Aikman has hit 11 straight passes. He gives to Emmett again. And Emmett gets a couple. There's Aeneas Williams. He really has been a warrior, hasn't he?
Well, he has, and sometimes, you know, like I was saying earlier, you just hope that sometimes these great players that play on bad teams somewhere in their career, either their team gets good or they get an opportunity to play on a good team.
With free agency, that can always happen. Second goal at the 3. Emmitt Smith, his third of the day. He passed Jim Brown. He passed Walter Payton, the great Walter Payton, and he passed the great Jim Brown. Sometimes we use great too much, but when you talk about those two guys, you don't. When you talk about him, you don't.
And there's going to be a day that someone is going to pass the great Emmitt Smith.
Cunningham for the extra point.
But this line is really working well together again.
Cunningham is good, and it's 35-14.
Look at Big Nate, number 61, pull around. Was that a collision?
Yeah. 35-14, and last year, you know, the Cowboys had a tough time scoring when they got in the so-called red zone inside the 20. They were tied, or they were next to last all by themselves. The year before that, they were well down the ladder, and today they've had 5 opportunities and scored 5 touchdowns, so they're taking care of that problem if it was a problem. They've pretty well taken care of it before today, but today helped. Metcalf wrapped up at the 26.
Yeah, there was just a shot at Emmitt Smith, and he had a golf ball.
Somebody threw a golf ball at him.
Threw a golf ball at him, and that's something. I mean, a guy does something like this, and that's the last thing you need. I mean, you wonder why anyone would either bring a golf ball to a stadium to throw. And there's a lot of great fans in football, a lot of great fans in this stadium and all stadiums, but there's also some dumb ones.
Plummer out of the pocket, throws. Pass complete to Sanders.
Yeah, if you'd have to say, does Jake Plummer have a go-to guy today? It would sure have to be Frank Sanders, wasn't it? A week ago, it was, I mean, a year ago, it was Rob Moore. He was their go-to guy. You see Aeneas Williams there. They're taping that toe. I wonder if that's one of those turf toe injuries. You talked about corner injuries, and 2 corners have 2 toe injuries.
Adrian Morrell picking his way.
Yeah, they're getting banged around them, and those trainers and doctors and on both sides are working overtime today.
Very warm day. Not so much now with the sun headed down behind the stands, but earlier it was very warm. Here's Plummer. Has a man open. Gedney right in the middle.
Yeah, we talked about Frank Sanders, being his go-to guy. Chris Gedney in the middle has been a pretty good deal for him too. Because what happens is they start to, the Cowboys use some of that cover too, where the safeties each take halves, and then the linebackers are responsible for the tight end in the middle. And Chris Gedney is just getting behind those linebackers in front of the safety.
Here comes the blitz. Plummer just lofts it, and the pass is caught by Metcalf. Charlie Williams.
Yeah, he saw the blitz. Now the blitz means that you're going to have man-to-man. Charlie Williams has no help. There's no safety over there. In fact, that one could have been interference.
Could have been.
He bumped him and hit him when the ball was in the air, but Jake Plummer makes a perfect throw there to Eric Metcalf.
And they hurry up. Still time left in the third quarter. Morrell. Nothing doing.
I'm impressed with Jake Plummer. I mean, he's only in his second year, but I think he's going to be one. There's Billy Davis there that they're working on. Yeah, you can see it. That made him faster because he got the platinum off his head, but then because he ran so fast, he pulled a hamstring. So that's why if you get platinum on your head, you never want to take it off.
Not a good idea. At the 15, here's Plummer back to throw. Throws outside to Gedney again, and Gedney's inside the 5.
And look, you see what Kevin Smith did? He take both hands and grabbed his head. Anytime that happens, here's Gedney. He's a tight end. They line him up as a wide receiver out there on Kevin Smith. Now, Kevin Smith gives him way too big a cushion, and then he comes up and misses the tackle.
Both hands, saved a touchdown.
Both hands have to go to the head when you do something like Kevin Smith just did.
Remember, he's playing with a bad shoulder.
And he's playing with, his confidence in the middle. I mean, not down in the bottom, but not up on top either.
Gedney, 3 catches, 67 yards. First and goal, Arizona. Plummer looks left. Touchdown. Rob Moore on the fade.
Yep. That thing's been there all day today, Pat, but it had to be outside, and Jake Plummer finally got it outside. You see Rob Moore is inside. He keeps Charlie Williams inside. Now that ball had to be thrown outside more, and that's the first time Jake Plummer did it. Rob Moore, I think, again had a little push-off out there on Charlie Williams. But Jake Plummer has some accuracy, too.
Yes, he does.
He's not all about running and moving. He's also about standing in there and throwing it pretty well.
Extra point good by Nedney, and it's 35-21 with 4 seconds to go in the third quarter. Still a lot of football left.
And that's right where he had to throw that one. Yep. He had it twice earlier, and once he threw it inside too much, and then on the other one, he had a pass interference, and in that one, he finally got the completion that he'd been looking for. But he not only has thrown to Frank Sanders, and then we saw the touchdown that he threw here to Rob Moore, the couple of passes to Gedney, both as a tight end and as a wide receiver. Great mixture.
Remember, on October the 5th, the Vikings went into Lambeau and ended the Packers' home winning streak. Next week, it's payback as the Packers look to return the favor against their divisional rivals. Coverage begins with the pregame show live from the Metrodome, where we'll be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listing.
Kevin Smith is still hitting himself in the head, and one, and giving a tight end that big a cushion, and two, on after you gave him that big a cushion, missing the tackle.
This kickoff should be the last play of the quarter. And it sails way deep in the end zone where it's handled by Chris Warren. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score: the Cowboys 35, the Cardinals 21. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Back at sold-out Sun Devil Stadium, Pat Summerall, John Madden. Another of the Cardinals headed for X-rays or for the locker room. Maddox. Mark Maddox. Cowboys at their own 20.
You haven't heard much from Simeon Rice today, nor Andre Wadsworth.
Nope.
Larry Allen and Eric Williams have done a good job.
Here's Aikman dropping a throw. Drops it out to Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt lost the ball, fumble, and a flag. Cardinals get the ball, but there's a penalty marker down.
Yeah, and that was in the defensive backfield, where it's usually in the area of a defensive penalty. And that's exactly what it is. So the Cardinals aren't going to get that ball. But that's the thing that has really helped the Cardinals all year is getting the takeaways.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, 95 defense, 5 yards, first down Dallas.
Jameer Miller. Emmitt kicked that ball out with his own knee.
Yeah. He just kneed that ball out. That penalty was on Jameer Miller. So that's going to be an automatic first down for the Cowboys. But bigger than that, the Cardinals don't get the ball. And look at the field position that they would have had. They would have had the ball there on the 20-yard line.
First and 10, Dallas at their own 25. And the handoff is to Emmitt Smith, who's hit down behind the line by Mark Smith. And right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John take a look at Tampa Bay trying to win its first game on the road this season. Trent Dilfer starting the fourth, hooks up with Riedel Anthony. It looks like they might nip him at the heels. They do, but he maintains his balance. 79 yards later, he's at pay dirt. Tampa Bay on top in the fourth. Back to Pat and John.
Championship of Florida at stake.
And that penalty on that play must have been against Jacksonville.
Must have been, although the championship might be settled in Miami with Jimmy Johnson. Here's Aikman giving to Emmitt Smith, who spins after he picks up a couple or three. Pat Tillman.
You talk about great players and great defensive linemen and guys. There's one, Joe Green. Remember having coached against him so many years when I was with the Oakland Raiders, and Joe Green was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was the first guy that lined up in that gap. You know that cock thing they have where the tackle lines up between the guard and the center. I'll tell you, he was really tough in there. He always had to double him.
And we talked to him yesterday, and he voted against Terry Bradshaw's facial hair.
Joe Green did?
Yes, he did. As they play together. Aikman gets it to Chris Warren. That's close to a first down.
Yeah, I was saying that we haven't seen Simeon Rice all day, and the reason you haven't heard from him is he's out there against Larry Allen, and if you try and run around Larry Allen, which he's trying to do, by the time you get around him, you're already by the quarterback, and that doesn't do you any good. I remember I used to say the worst position a pass rusher can be is right there behind the quarterback. Both defensive ends ended up behind the quarterback.
And all you see back there is the other defensive end.
Yeah, and I was telling you, he's not going to lateral to you. He's not going to throw it to you. You got to get in front of him.
Aikman to throw again. That's Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt takes it to Cardinal territory, stopped by McKinnon.
Yeah, and McKinnon better stop him because McKinnon missed him the first time. Ronald McKinnon had great position on him. You watch him, and he has him out here. Here's 57. He's going to come out. He has him right here. You see, he misses a tackle, or Emmitt Smith made him miss a tackle. Now McKinnon has to chase him from behind and catch up and make the tackle. Had he made it the first time, he wouldn't have had to chase him to catch him to make it the second time.
Emmitt gets a rest, and Chris Warren comes in behind Troy Aikman, who's hit 13 in a row. First and 10. Warren, the carrier. Warren gets about 5.
You know, and the other thing is Troy Aikman has thrown so well today and so accurate, but the big thing, he hasn't been sacked. And I think that's the offensive line. I mean, you know, if anyone's going to get there, it's going to be Simeon Rice, but Larry Allen has completely shut out Simeon Rice.
Well, the other guys, the new center, Kieselak, has done a good job.
Yeah,
Nate's done a good job.
Yeah, they don't have the rushers inside. I mean, the two rushers are coming from the outside, and they haven't gotten close to Troy Aikman.
Second and 5. Warren again. Hit in the backfield, broke away from that one, and slipped for a couple of yards.
You know, another interesting thing is again, Michael Irvin hasn't had a ball thrown to him today, hasn't caught a pass, and he's coming into this game with a streak of 117 games that he's caught a pass in. And you can see he's very, very frustrated. I was watching him on the bench the last time when their defense was out there, and he was sitting in the end of the bench all by himself. And he's a guy that I always thought you had to get him the ball and get him the ball early to keep him in the game. There's that 5 wide receivers now with no one in the backfield.
Except Aikman, who's in the shotgun. And here comes the blitz. And Aikman has it batted backwards. And he goes down. Mark Smith put on the pressure and got the hand up that knocked it down.
Mark Smith is a guy that's really come on since Eric Swan has been hurt. You're going to see him. He's right here in the left-handed stance. He makes a move right there on Kieselak, and he just comes right up the middle on Troy Aikman. Watch him make the move. See, Kieselak gets his head out too much. He gets his nose over his toes, and when you get your nose over your toes, Mark Smith can run right by you.
Where should your nose be if not over your toes?
Your nose should be back. Your nose should never be extended where it gets over your toes. Your nose should always be behind your toes in pass protection.
Here the Cardinals are showing blitz again, and there's a flag on the play. And another one.
We were talking to Troy Aikman whether he likes his shotgun or not. He said it doesn't really make any difference whether I like it or not. He said because Chan does, and every third down he's going to call it.
Delay game offense. 5 yards. Repeat 4th down.
Too long.
He says that that Kieselak, he said, snaps the ball. In fact, he used the word hike. I hadn't used the word hike. He said he really hikes the ball hard back there.
There's Dale Hellestrate,
he is a great hiker.
Maybe the best hiker.
That's how he does that. And watch where that ball will be placed. That ball's going to be right there where the punter wants.
Goen gets the high kick. And it sails into the end zone, and the Cardinals will start from their 20. Jeff Ogden a bit shaken in the end zone. 10:07 left.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chevy S10, like a rock. By IBM, are you ready for e-business? By First Union, your guide to the financial world. And by UPS, moving at the speed of business.
Do you ever ride a horse?
Not as good as that cowgirl.
She's been doing it all of her life. 35-21, 10 minutes left. Plummer back to throw. Gets it out to Morrell. Morrell gets about 6.
Yeah, we're talking about the tackles of the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cardinals have one in Lomas Brown, who for a long time has been a good tackle. He's in his 14th year, and he is really a good pass protector. I mean,
so many years with Detroit.
And I mean, he's such a solid guy and a solid player, and I mean, he gets his guy, and you can usually say that, that you're not going to get a lot of pressure from your left side because that's where Lomas Brown plays.
2 tight ends this time up. Plummer rolls and looks and is forced out of the pocket, and he's very mobile and finds a man down the field. That's Frank Sanders, and Sanders spent a lot of time out of bounds, but he's still got the chains moved and a lot more.
Yeah, but this guy is something. I mean, this Jake Plummer is something special. I mean, you can just see that that he can do that when he has pass protection. He can hit things, and when he doesn't have pass protection, he can move like that and then still buy time and then find a receiver. And he sure kind of likes Frank Sanders.
Yeah.
Then he likes Rob Moore when he gets close. Then every once in a while throw one to Chris Gedney.
Morrell to the 30. And that's the Dallas 30 with still just under 9 minutes left. 35-21.
It seems like the second half, this Dallas Cowboy defense has been on the field a lot.
It seems like it.
It was a long time. Remember that first drive that the Cardinals had?
Yeah. Well, that was over 5 minutes.
Yeah, in the third quarter, they had the ball almost 9 minutes.
Second and 7. Second and 7. Here's Plummer. And this time he can't get away. That is Hervin McCormick.
That's a second play Hervin McCormick made today. Remember earlier in the game, he got a fumble recovery on a reverse play, and here he gets a big sack on Jake Plummer. You're going to see, we're talking about the pressure. He just comes right up the middle. You see it, Jake Plummer felt a little pressure from his right. So then he was forced from his right, and then he had to step up, and he stepped right into Hervin McCormick.
On third down, Plummer with time this time. And with the man open, it's Sanders again. And that'll move the sticks.
This Plummer something, but so is Sanders.
Yep.
And they're still working out here on Kevin Smith. Although this one is a zone. You see, it's that double coverage, and they bump him. And then once he got by Kevin Smith, he just sat down there, and he just sat in that zone, which is a hole between where the corner rotated up and the safety rotated over.
Kenny Wheaton, the safety, just couldn't get there. 25 out of 40 for Plummer. 341 yards. Big day.
Yeah, how about Sanders? Frank Sanders has 9 catches.
Here's Morrell. And he is hit and knocked backwards.
By Darren Woodson.
Yep. We'll do that.
Yeah, we have 2 safeties in this game that were linebackers at Arizona State.
Woodson.
Darren Woodson, of course, and he can run, and then Pat Tillman. Although I think Darren Woodson was a rover or outside linebacker.
Yeah, he was.
Woodson even said that he thought Tillman was an inside linebacker.
They're showing blitz. They won't get there, and Plummer will have time and incomplete. Kevin Smith covered Ron Moore.
Look at Jake Plummer there. He's trying to talk him into one here. Yeah, every time that you throw one deep now, you're always looking for pass interference.
Well, the odds are pretty good.
Well, and right there they could have called something, because you can't push or touch a guy after 5 yards, and they were both pushing and grabbing and tugging.
Moore was
after
grabbing.
5.
Moore's got got.
He has Kevin Smith's jersey.
Yeah. Third down and 10.
Moore's been pushing all day.
Yeah. Here's Plummer with time. Incomplete. That one sailed high over Moore. Now what do you do? Field goal or go for the 7?
I think Jake Plummer did that one on purpose. I think you take the field goal. Yeah, I think that you do that and then just keep adding points. I mean, I don't think that you have that need right now.
I don't see Nedney.
Now, and they're thinking that that they need 2 touchdowns, so they have to go for 1 now. That is a type of thinking, but I've always believed you get the score and just keep adding them up, and then you wait until you're down to around 3 minutes and start to worry about it.
They're going to go on 4th. Plummer back to throw it, and he is sacked. It does get rid of it, but doesn't matter. The Cowboys will take over. Randall Godfrey put the heat on him.
I see, you always assume when you're going to go for it that you're going to get the first down, but then when you don't, then you just left 3 points out there.
Dallas takes over.
On that 4th down pass rush, here's Randall Godfrey. Now watch him. He runs a stunt. You see, Chad Hennings goes to the outside, grabs the center. Randall Godfrey just comes right around it, and watch him extend on Jake Plummer. What an extension right there. In fact, he extends so much he knocks his helmet off. That is a heck of a rush.
The Cowboys take it over. 1st and 10 at their own 16, and Emmitt Smith gets the carry. Just a couple. Emmitt has 22 carries on the day, 98 yards.
That's what happens at the end, Pat, when you lose your helmet like that. And you get to do a little dance as you get up. But the Cowboys are using Randall Godfrey more, blitzing him, rushing him against the passer with the 3-man line.
Well, he's a good athlete to begin with and a heck of a pass rusher.
Yeah, and he started from the middle. Someday, Randall Godfrey's going to be the middle linebacker of this Cowboy team because that's really where he belongs.
2nd and 9. Emmitt got a yard. Emmitt rainbows ahead. That should put him over 100 for the afternoon. That's his 54th career 100-yard game.
I remember for years the Cowboys were about the triplets, and it was Troy Aikman throwing to Michael Irvin and handing it to Emmitt Smith, and they've gotten back to the Emmitt Smith part of it, but for some reason in the last couple of weeks they've lost the Michael Irvin part of it.
Aikman they still have. He's had a wonderful afternoon, and Emmitt's over 100.
And they're throwing more to Billy Davis and Ernie Mills and LaFleur and the back, and not Michael Irvin.
That's Emmitt again, and he's close. Mark Smith tripped him up.
But I'll bet you somewhere someone's going to say that that Michael Irvin has a streak going here of 117 games, and he hasn't caught a pass yet. We ought to get one to him because he hasn't caught one. I don't think they've thrown one to him.
I don't think there's been one in his direction even.
Oh, and part of that has been the coverage of the Cardinals, and part of it's been Aeneas Williams.
They're going to measure here, to see how close Emmitt got. But whatever it is, if it's not, it looks a little short, and they're going to have to punt.
And I think in this situation you do punt. I mean, even though you're looking and say inches, you could finish the game here, and in this situation you punt the ball.
I think so. Toby Goen can let go with this one. Metcalf back deep. Father, of course, an outstanding player with the Cardinals. They were in St. Louis. Comes an extra something.
We looked at Jake Plummer on the ground, and anyone, when you get on the ground, it's not a pleasant experience. Look at Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt's not even blinking.
No. I mean, that's when you know you're a tough running back, when a guy can put a knee upside your head, inside your face mask, and your eyes don't blink.
Yeah.
Because if your eyes didn't blink when a guy put the knee up in there, you know that you weren't going to flinch.
Maybe that's one of the reasons he's such a great runner and has been such an outstanding runner.
I don't think anyone has ever questioned Emmitt Smith's toughness.
Toughness or his tremendous peripheral vision.
Or unblinkability or unflinchability.
This is a good kick by Goen. Chases Metcalf all the way back inside the 20. And he's hit down about the 28. There's Godfrey down to make the stop.